and welcome to Americans Learn. My name is Lauren, and today I am looking at a Lindsay Nikole video. This one is animals that are metal as... It's still too early in the video to actually swear, so I can't say it yet. But I'm looking forward to finding out which animals she finds metal, because there are a lot of them. Also, I think we need to bring back the saying things are metal. That was such a good one. Saying things were metal. I haven't done that since college, really, but we need to bring that back. I never stopped saying sketchy, but I need to start saying things are metal again because it's just so evocative. Anyway, let's begin.
When you think about the average favorite animal, your brain probably goes to something cute, fluffy, very squeezable things. Cats and bunnies and panda bears. But most animals don't fit that category. Some, rather than cute, are metal as fuck, as in very sick and cool, have superhero-like qualities, and make you question the true limits of what animals are capable of. Animals are diverse. So today I want to focus on those that are purely metal as fuck. So
nice. That was a punk cat, not a metal cat.
Not 3, not 4, not 5.
I guess we'll never know.
Metal as fuck animals
amount of
come in
money.
a variety of shapes and sizes and taxonomic groups. So I don't have a general information section to get out of the way. But I did figure out a way to categorize some of them as if they are weapons. Weapons are typically made out of metal, keeping in line with the metal theme of this video. But I want to clarify that I don't think combat and warfare are metal as fuck. They just objectively, typically include some sort of metal. The first category of metal as fuck animals is close combat. Animals that are metal as fuck in a close range distance. Exhibit A, the Iberian ribbed newt. An amphibian from, you guessed it, the Iberian Peninsula that can get to about a foot long. At first glance, this newt looks basic, nothing to write home about, but your eyes deceive you once again, because
that's big for ooh, I think of bearded dragons or whatever as being about that big, and they're kind of big. That's a big old newt. I think of newts being like that.
This newt
really slimy
has blades that rip through its skin as defense. Those blades, they're ribs. They rotate their ribs forward and out and rip through venomous glands in their skin, creating built-in, certified, lethal weapons. This is quite alarming. I know. How can anybody see this?
Are they okay?
The newt's secret weapons aren't totally hidden. They have these rows of orange spots running down the side of their body. Those are where the ribs come out, where the toxic substance is stored. And the ribs aren't coming out of pores, dude. They're ripping the skin each time. Ripping it.
How very Wolverine of them.
Boom. Toxic meal. Imagine picking up one of these newts for a quick snack, pop it in your mouth, boom. Turns into what probably feels like a fucking sea urchin. Then you've got a mouthful of venom and some of it probably seeping into wounds. That would suck. Probably make you want to spit it out. First, back to the fact that they rip the skin each time. You might be thinking, how is this not a honeybee scenario where they die after they use their weapon? The answer is amphibians are weird as fuck. They can regenerate to shit. And
okay, so it is very Wolverine-y, because that's what happens with his clauses. They ching. They go out of his knuckles every time.
Amphibians can often regenerate limbs, parts of their brain, and even some organs. So in the case of the rib-ripping newt, this means very little chance of getting an infection. A very solid chance of being able to do this over and over as long as the defense actually works. I want to give a quick shout out to this article I found called "Newts Use Ribs as Lethal Weapons," in all caps. And the picture that goes along with it. This is a sick scientific article. It also added that along with the fact that the newts can heal their wounds quickly, the ribs are also coated in a thick, kind of nourishing layer that probably also protects them from infections. Very badass, very metal as fuck. Some may say similar to Wolverine. Until
I said that.
The Wolverine frog. Yes, another amphibian. And this one is even more like Wolverine. Actually, extremely on the nose. Blades in the hands, which are actually, you guessed it, they're bones. Not just any bones, broken bones. They break their bones, rip them out of the skin, and boom, Wolverine. They can.
Well, he doesn't have to break his bones to do it. His bones just kind of went. Doesn't Lady Deathstrike have them come out of her fingernails? At least she did in the movie.
Scratch their enemies to a deep degree. Also, when they're ready to mate, males become hairy or seemingly hairy, which is extremely Wolverine. That hair is not actually hair though, due to the fact that they are amphibians.
Less fun, but yeah, Wolverine is he's a hairy dude. And is short. He's shorter than me, which is very fun. I appreciate the fact that Wolverine is shorter than I am.
No. Instead, these hair-like projections are extremely long strands of flesh filled with blood vessels. They're used to collect more oxygen through their skin while they watch over their developing children. Don't have to go up for air.
But
very convenient when you have tens, if not hundreds, if not thousands of children you're responsible for. I also realized as I'm saying this that maybe Wolverine is based on the Wolverine frog. Probably not. Sometimes I say stuff and then there's comments that are like, oh, well, it was actually based off this character. And I don't know shit like that. So I don't think Wolverine was based off this frog. I think it's just a coincidence, but maybe it was. Maybe if somebody could clarify in the comments, that would be very appreciated. Back to the
My guess would be that the frog is based off Wolverine. Okay, yeah. So apparently, it was called the hairy frog or the horror frog at first, and then after Wolverine became a popular known character, the frog was then also called the Wolverine frog.
bones and how they go about breaking them inside of their toes.
So it is also possible that they took some aspects from the Wolverine, from this frog when it was still called the hairy frog, and imported them into Wolverine, like the with the knuckles. But then the frog took the name from Wolverine. So it might be an Ouroboros sort of situation.
The tips of the terminal phalanges are not fused to the rest of the toe skeleton. So, when threatened, the frog contracts muscles in its feet, and the blades break free from these nodules they're attached to and rip through the skin of its toe pads. This defense is unexpected, so effective.
Yeah?
Early reports of handling them in the 1950s mentioned deep bleeding wounds on the researchers. That's to a human being. Imagine how much they could fuck up a predatory bird. After the threat has been eliminated, the Wolverine frog's bone blades go back into their original place. And as you would expect from an amphibian, the skin and connection to the nodules are healed very quickly via regeneration. They are totally cool and totally metal as fuck. Now we're moving away from close combat into more long-range combat, relatively long-range combat, starting off with the horned lizard, found in deserts in North America. There's about 20 species, and many of them have a very sick defense. They squirt blood out of their eyes.
Oh yeah, I heard about them. Ugh.
Can't get more metal than that. So,
It's terrifying though.
horned lizards have blood filling their sinuses all around their eyes. So when they get threatened, they restrict blood flow from the head, which increases the pressure in these sinuses until the tiny vessels burst, releasing a stream of blood. Somehow they have very accurate aim. They can squirt blood up to 5 feet away and are able to target the mouths and eyes of their attackers.
Wow.
This is not just a sick, disgusting prank. The blood is toxic.
Oh, cool.
Turns out the lizards eat a very large amount of venomous ants. Their digestive system is adapted to neutralize the ant's venom so they don't get hurt, but then they're able to take it a step further and incorporate the venom into their blood. Kind of like the aeolid nudibranchs to some degree, literally spraying venomous blood out of their eyes. That is unfathomably metal. There's
I mean, I feel like that's where they stole the little Jurassic Park things with the like that wasn't a real dinosaur, right? Was it a real dinosaur? The ones that like sprayed acid out of their mouths? I feel like maybe they took it from this and like made an assumption that that is a thing that they could do. I don't remember. I don't know. Why are you here? I say stupid shit.
so metal, they're alkali. Chemists, let me know if that makes sense in the comments, because I think alkali is like the most metalist metal. So I get it. Okay. In terms of chemistry and chemical elements.
I see where you're coming from.
The next one on the list is
don't know if it makes sense,
in the same
I see where you're
long-range
coming
combat
from.
category, I guess, but also combined with explosives. Allow me to introduce you to the bombardier beetle. They create boiling, toxic chemical compounds inside of their bodies and project them out at their enemies, literally shitting out explosives as defense. Let me break it down. So at any typical moment, the bombardier beetle has 2 reservoirs of chemicals in their abdomen. One contains hydroquinone, and the other contains hydrogen peroxide. On their own, fine. When threatened, these chemicals get mixed together in a reaction chamber inside of their bodies and create a superheated mixture of benzoquinone, a pungent and poisonous chemical compound. We all had that chemistry teacher in high school that wasn't all there and would make insane little explosions in their beakers. Actually, probably not all there because of all the fucking explosions.
I didn't have that.
I'm sure you remember how just 2 liquids, that's 4, 2 liquids would get all pressurized and freak out. That's exactly what happens inside the bodies of the bombardier beetles. And that pressure forces...
I did have a chemistry teacher who let me handle my unhinged urges though. We did a thing. We did a thing once where he put like a peep in a vacuum container. So like you could see the vacuum, you could see it inside, and when the vacuum's turned on, the peep would like expand until it like exploded, right? And so I said that he should put another little peep up against the glass. And he was like, oh, yeah, so he can see his friend explode. Very nice. And he did it. He put the little piece. He's like, he made like a little a viewing station of the peep watching his friend explode in the vacuum. So that was fun. So that like he didn't do he was safe with his chemistry, but he did let me dictate some pretty dark scenarios on occasion.
This is the liquid out of the nearest exit, i.e. a valve, at the tip of their abdomen, with a popping sound, in a pulsating jet that can reach up to 22 miles per hour. It's a pulsating jet rather than a long stream, so the reaction chamber can cool off, and the beetle doesn't fucking combust in the process. This one, I think, feels harder to imagine in an evolutionary context. How the fuck did this happen? Well, as I've said many times, and will say many times more, there are a shit ton of beetles. Over 350,000 species of beetles that we know of, and they make up about 25% of all animal species. All animal species, dude.
Beetles?
So, with that much diversity in just one group, it's not surprising that some of them just went totally sci-fi. Tons of beetles have chemical defenses. I've mentioned my experience with blister beetles. They'll spray you with this liquid that will leave blisters on you for weeks. Some ground beetles do this thing called reflex bleeding, where toxic liquid seeps out of their legs when threatened. Other beetles have other toxic liquids that seep out of other parts of their body. Beetles have been all about toxic liquids and seeping toxic liquids for a very long time. So these chemical compounds have been part of the beetle lineage for millions of years. And that's what led to these particular chemicals being able to be combined and react in the bombardier beetles' bodies. Bombardier beetles' bodies. Bombardier beetles' bodies. If you think about it, all the beetles need is the presence or development of the chemicals and the ability to not be harmed by them. The chemical reaction.
Interesting that they go through their legs as opposed to out their, like, backwards, you know? They go forwards, not backwards. I think that's interesting.
Action and explosion and pressure is what would happen between these chemicals in whatever environment they get combined in. So if it's in a body, it gets combined in a body. Just got to make sure the body can deal with it. Am I making any sense?
Yes. Also, I just remembered that, like, she was talking about, you have your chemistry teacher who, like, caused weird fires and stuff in the classroom. The only teacher I had that caused a classroom fire was an English teacher that I had once, because she literally set a trash can on fire on purpose. She did this on purpose to, like, prove a point. And hadn't really considered the ramifications of putting a bunch of paper into a trash can and then setting it on fire until it started to actually be on fire. And then she had, like, one of the boys had to, like, run the trash can out into the courtyard next to her classroom. Oh, English teachers. It was all part of a lesson about how we shouldn't always trust authority and just do everything people in authority tell you to do. It was all about where's your line and figuring out how to find your line and not doing what you were told by people in charge. So, good lesson. Wildly bad idea to set a fire in a school.
And as you would expect, this defense works wonders. They can spray the liquid up to about 20 times before running out of fuel. And with the right-sized predator, that is a lethal attack. A toad, perhaps. A study back in 2018 found that bombardier beetles that are swallowed by toads have almost a 50% survival rate, because the toads turn their stomachs inside out and throw up the beetles when they realize what they've done. All in all, a very cool beetle.
Wow.
Moving on to a new category. Still kind of in a warfare context, but more of a war crime. Allow me to introduce you to the shrike, a type of songbird found all over the world. I know, this seems like such a simple little guy. Don't be fooled by
the name shrike is kind of terrifying, although I can see why sometimes. Oh, okay. I like the little band there.
His chubby cheeks. This bird is barbaric. They skewer their prey to thorns, branches, or barbed wire in order to take down prey seemingly larger than possible.
So they, like, have literally stolen, like, humans put barbed wire out and the shrike's like, cool. Tools.
And then the nickname, butcher birds. Like I said, they're very unassuming. They look like a simple, typical songbird. Big heads, but very small overall. Very cute. There's one feature that hints at their sinister ways. Those black mask markings over their eyes. Likely to reduce glare in their eyes while hunting, but also identifies them as sly criminals. Another thing they have is hooked bills. Similar to birds of prey, the kind of birds they strive to be. Like the whole lion inside every house cat thing. Birds of prey are much more equipped to take down their kills. They have those sharp talons to grasp and immobilize. The shrike could only dream of talent. So instead, in order to achieve their dreams of being one of the greats, they use sharp objects.
Oh my God.
Horrifying. As the purpose of grasping and immobilizing things, like talents. But it also creates a supply of food for later on. No need to eat it now. The kebab is probably not going anywhere. As long as they have access to a sharp object, they can take down anything they can get to get onto it. Insects, other vertebrates, even other birds. In the most extreme cases, ducks and pigeons. This little guy is taking down ducks and pigeons. That's metal as fuck.
How does it get
Of course, you have to have skill to impale something if you're a tiny bird. The way they do it is by grasping their prey by the neck with their hooked beak, pinch the spinal cord to paralyze them, and shake them violently with the power of up to 6 G-forces, enough to break the neck of a small rodent. Then, the prey is fucked. Nowhere to go. Obviously, they're paralyzed. That's when they get
neck
skewered.
broken.
To me, this is sick and metal as fuck. Not only is this tiny bird capable of much more than you'd expect, but they're also using tools. And any animal that uses tools is cool. I like this bird a lot. I like how small they are and also how they look. Actually, I guess they kind of look like the tiny orcas of the bird world. Maybe they're orcas reincarnated as tiny birds. The last one on the list is metal as fuck in a totally different way. In a truly literal way. Meet the volcano snail. A mollusk that lives near hydrothermal vents and builds its shell out of iron. Literally.
Oh, sick!
As fuck. The snail was first found back in 2001 at the first hydrothermal vents identified in the Indian Ocean. As you probably know, hydrothermal vents have all sorts of minerals spewing out of them. It's probably where life originated, and life still exists there today. Organisms near the vents.
And it's probably one of the only places that would still have life in the case of like super cataclysmic events.
These minerals to survive. It's the only way how. It's the fucking deep sea. But this snail was different. The iron shell was a shock, and it became a sensation immediately, like a 6-year-old who can play piano on the Ellen Show. It had hundreds of these scale-shaped exoskeletal structures made of iron sulfides all over its foot. That big fleshy part they use to move around. Same function as our foot, locomotion, in a very different font. Its shell was made of these same iron sulfides, making it the first and only animal to use iron in its skeleton that we know of. Most animals with shells and exoskeletons in the ocean use calcium carbonate to get it done. Calcium and carbonate ions are all over the place.
Interesting that it's like on its foot too.
To use. Seemingly unlimited supply. So it's not crazy that an animal would use a different material that's abundant in their unusual environment. Iron.
Iron, and iron.
Oh yeah! I love that one. I love that one. The making fun of the Baltimore accent is what that particular vine was all about, if you don't know. It is a very funny one, though. You should look it up.
Makes this animal a certified metal as fuck freak, and that was the last one on the list. I hope you enjoyed it. Just so you know, to keep you up to date, I'm gonna be doing a little bit of redecorating. Not too much. I'm gonna be moving this to a different wall. So I think I'm gonna keep the same thing going on. I like the plant over there. I'm probably gonna put the base back if it fits. I'm gonna keep the big whiteboard. I'm gonna keep all this stuff too. But if you have any suggestions on maybe some things that you would like to see me add to my backdrop, let me know. I want to figure out how to put up the Smilodon skull somewhere, but it might just like not look right on camera, you know? It might have to be like here, and obviously you can't go there because of the whiteboard or the picture frame, whatever. I'm not going to be using this microphone anymore because somebody, my editor, wants me to use a different type of mic. So I got to figure that out, which kind of sucks because I've gotten used to it. But I'll get used to this one. It's fine.
It'll be fine. Cruel
This
editor.
will probably be the same, but just in a slightly different area because it's going to a slightly different wall. It's the era of redecorating. So, I will see you then. And if you like this video, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the first episode of the history of cats that we know of. I don't know what it's going to be called yet, but that's the general gist. It's the history of cats that we know of. That's coming out next week, I think. Keep up with behind-the-scenes content and live streams on Patreon, where we also have a Discord server. And for now, stay curious. The world has a lot for us to learn. See ya!
Bye! Always fun. Always fun to hang out with the Lindsay Nikole. I always enjoy it. And yeah, those animals were really actually metal as fuck. Yeah. I mean, not much else to say about it. They actually are. And also, I still stand by my thing, but we need to bring back the word, bring back metal as like a compliment. Because that was a good time when we did that. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what I should react to next, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.